My oh my, I'm excited today. Smell those Gulab Jamun. You know I made the curry the other day? Well, it got me to thinking I love to do an Indian dessert when I've had a curry. Gulab Jamun are my favourite. These I've just made. They're soaking up the beautiful saffron syrup. Well, I'm going to show you now how to make this wonderful Indian dessert. We're going to start by making our sugar syrup for this, and I've got a wide base saucepan here with 3 cups of water in. I'm going to add into that 1.5 cups of granulated sugar, and then we'll take this over to the stove top, and I want to heat this up until the sugar is completely dissolved. Now when the sugar has dissolved like that, I just want to take a pinch of good quality saffron and just drop that into the water. And then I want to take the seeds from 6 green cardamom pods, and I'm just going to pop those in as well. I'm adding 1 teaspoon of rose water. Now if you could smell this now, it smells absolutely delicious. And I always add a little squeeze of lime in there as well. And now I want to bring the water up to a simmer and let it simmer for about 5 minutes, just to allow the sugar to caramelize a little bit and allow all the flavors to absorb into the syrup. Now after 5 minutes of simmering, I can just cover that now. It'll cool a little bit on the side while I prepare my Gulab Jamun. So now I'm going to make the dough for the Gulab Jamun. I'm putting 1.5 cups of milk powder into a bowl. And you really do want to use a full cream milk powder because it's all about the cream for this recipe. I'm adding to that 1/2 cup of all-purpose flour and 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda and just a pinch of salt. Then I'm just going to use a whisk to mix these dry ingredients together. Now I want a couple of tablespoons of melted unsalted butter in there, or ghee will do. And I'm going to start by adding a couple of tablespoons of full cream milk. And then I'm just going to use a fork to draw this mixture together. Now we will need a little extra milk, but I don't want to go too heavy on the milk to start with. And we'll just keep adding a couple of tablespoons at a time until the dough starts to bind together and become a little bit sticky. Now I've continued to add a little more milk at a time until I've got this dough which is becoming smooth now, but quite sticky. You see, it's lovely and soft. Now that is ready to start using. So what I'm going to do now with this dough is I'm just pinching off some little bits, not too big because they do expand as they cook and soak up the syrup. And I'm just going to roll them between my hands and try and get as smooth a little ball as I can. My mixture has made up 15 reasonably good sized Gulab Jamuns, and we're going to fry these now in some deep oil. Now to cook our Gulab Jamun, we want our oil to be a little over 140 degrees Celsius, that's about 290 Fahrenheit. And we can test that with a little one here. I'm just going to drop it into the oil. It should drop to the bottom and start fizzing. Now sometimes they'll stick to the bottom and you might need to just use a little fork to release them, and they'll pop to the top. So now I know that oil is perfect to cook my Gulab Jamun. So at that temperature I can do 5 or 6 of these at a time, and just dropping them in there, they'll drop to the bottom and then they'll pop back up to the top. So you'll see now how they've come to the top and they've puffed up a little bit. You can just use the back of your slotted spoon just to spin them around. And we're looking for an even golden brown colour to these Gulab Jamun. Now that is exactly the colour I'm looking for there. So I'm just going to lift these out now and pop them onto a plate with a little bit of paper towel on there. Now I've moved my sugar syrup while it's still a little bit warm into a deeper bowl so that I can get some depth to it, and I'm going to take the little Gulab Jamun and drop them in there. And don't forget, these Gulab Jamun are still warm, they've just come out of the fryer. And just make sure they're completely soaking up this beautiful saffron infused sugar water. And we're going to leave those for at least a couple of hours to absorb some of that syrup into them. And when your Gulab Jamun have soaked up all that syrup, just put it into a little serving bowl like this, and nothing beats a Gulab Jamun like that. Well, actually, one thing does. 2 Gulab Jamun. And I used to get into trouble all the time because when my Indian friends made this for me, I loved to serve this with ice cream. But I'll go naked, ice cream free for this time, just to see what these taste like. There's a lovely squeakiness to a Gulab Jamun when it's perfect. Get some of that syrup. Oh, they are heavenly. Absolutely delicious. If you have not tried these, I really urge you to give them a go. They're simple to make and they are fantastic to eat. Try it with a bit of ice cream. Thank you for joining me. Please share the love, comments down below. I'd love to see you in the next video. Take care. And that's given me another idea. What about a wonderful kulfi, a little Indian ice cream? They are fantastic. Actually, I think I might make one of those and I'll put that up shortly. I'll leave some links to some other videos here. Everybody have a fantastic week. Be good. I'll see you next time.